Welcome to Module 6 of the Antioch Baptist Church Virtual Entrepreneurship Conference 2021. My name is MJ. I will introduce our first speaker, Michelle Gardner-Ince, who will speak to you about how to create your own brand. Michelle Gardner-Ince is founder of GI Strategic Solutions, which she started in 2009. She's sharpened the ability of 120 plus DoD and 100 plus business executives to develop and execute their strategic plans by linking proven solutions with real-world challenges, utilizing Dale Carnegie's ISO 9000 2001 certified processes as a Dale Carnegie trainer. Michelle has held the role as an executive leadership trainer for 6 years. As a John Maxwell certified coach, trainer, and speaker, she offers you workshops, seminars, keynote speaking, and coaching to aid business, organizational, personal, and professional transformation through practical application of John's proven leadership methods. Michelle is also the director and architect of the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business Initiative of the Office of Small Business for the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, which brings together female veteran entrepreneurs to position and enable their success, to remove obstacles that often stand in the way. Michelle will describe how to create an image that sets you apart, builds trust among people you work with, and represent the true, authentic you. And I will turn it over to her now.
Hi, thank you so much, MJ. What a delight it is to be with you. I was with Antioch a couple of years ago. Thanks to Mr. Bob Rogers for your support and just being a catalyst in the journey, or especially my personal journey of being passionate about women, veteran businesses, and leaders. So with that, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how did GI get started, right? So everybody has called me GI for 31 years now. When I married my husband 31 years ago, the Air Force is known for call signs. And so when I came back from my honeymoon, the guy said, you know, Gardner-Ince is too much. We're going to call you GI. And so ever since that time, I've been known as GI. As I tell people, it's a noun, it's a verb, it's an adjective, and if you work for me in the military, it might even have been a cuss word. But nevertheless, it has always been a brand that has been known for service, for excellence, for integrity, for mentoring, for various myriad of things. But about 2 years ago, really kind of in 2018, I started thinking about how do I develop this public brand, because the only way you really knew GI was if you had a personal encounter with me, you heard me speak, of that sort. But I decided that I wanted to be known as a thought leader for women, veterans, entrepreneurs, and leaders. And a thought leader in my mind is somebody who, when someone thinks of women, veteran, businesses, and leaders, they think GI. And so how was I going to do that? And so part of what I started doing, and this was a journey. I'm going to tell you, it didn't start out directly like, oh, I got this brand and I know exactly what I'm going to do. It started first with the picture that you see on my LinkedIn profile. The picture that is on the banner of the LinkedIn profile. That picture, the evolution of it is probably tells you a lot about who I am. So in 2018, my church had a Veterans Day effort. They do a big breakfast. And so everybody normally wears their uniform. I wanted to wear my uniform, and I said, you know, I've outgrown it. I'm not spending $300 or $400 to buy this uniform. So basically what I did was I got an idea that I was going to put everything that was on my uniform hat. And so all the badges, the medals, everything basically except for my my name tag. And so I wore it to the breakfast, and everybody was like, oh my God, that's awesome, that's neat. And so then I took a picture, and my daughter took a picture, and we posted it on Facebook. Well, I then got a direct message from a 4-star mentor of mine who said, Michelle, I don't think that's in regulation. And I said, sir, probably not. He said, well, you know, there's a regulation that governs how retirees are supposed to wear the uniform. And I said, I understand, sir, but I'm no longer in the Air Force. Then he had a peer of mine call me and send me the regulation. And I was kind of like, you know, I'm not harming anything. I want to glorify my service, you know, glorify, you know, the accomplishments I made. So then I said, the rebeller in me said, you know what? As I go in to take my business photos, because I flew to Atlanta to a guy named, you know, Nick Nelson, Brandpreneur, absolutely phenomenal. You know, he was the catalyst in helping me discover my brand. And I said, I'm going to wear this dress and this hat for one of the photos. Well, that took me on, that began the GI brand journey. That one photo, just really the way he captured me, the lighting, you know, the way I looked was the essence of who GI is. I've always been very feminine. That's why I'm not in the Army. My dad was in the Army, and I'm in the Air Force. So I've always been a glamour girl. Even back to when we would go and on a deployment, I was plugging my curling iron into the field laundry. But the bottom line is he captured that brand, and it took me 6 months to post that picture because I just studied it. And so at that point, I began to take pictures. I now take pictures every quarter. And the reason I do that, and every photographer will take a picture, I have them take a picture with me in that hat. And the reason I do that is because every person captures me differently. Angle, lighting, the expression, you know, just how I feel at that moment about my service, about my brand comes out. And now I will tell you that, you know, I'm obsessed. So once I began and I decided I'm going to do this, I determined what is my strategy? What's my box I'm going to live in? And as you know, it's very important when you're defining your client, your market, to be laser focused, not to have a shotgun, but to have instead a sniper focus. And so what I did was I decided my box was going to be women, veteran, entrepreneurs, and leaders. That's it. I'm not doing homelessness. I'm not doing military sexual trauma. I'm not doing unemployment. I'm not doing, you know, benefits. It is very, very focused. I wasn't going to do politics. I'm not doing religion. You know, I'm not doing anything that was controversial. And I also have asked people not to tag me. If you tag me on something that I think does not match my brand, I will send you a DM and say, remove my name. Because I wanted to be clear, when people think of GI, they think of women, veteran, leaders, and businesses or entrepreneurs. So that's my basic strategy. So once I did that, I needed to then find various, you know, tools. And I will tell you, you know, I use Canva every day. The other thing is I decided I would try to post at least 3 to 4 times a week. I do a lot of reading. I don't believe you can't be inspiring unless you're inspired. You can't be informative unless you're informed. So I do a lot of reading. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love talking to people. You know, for people who follow me on LinkedIn, which is where my greatest presence is, you will know that, you know, I love Clubhouse. Oh, by the way, get with it, LinkedIn followers, because LinkedIn will be bringing an audio drop-in version of Clubhouse before the end of the year. And so, from a strategy standpoint, I decided what tools I needed. So I first of all, I invested in myself. So I didn't just learn this. I believe learn and go do, learn and go do. And I believe in just-in-time training. So I knew that I needed to understand LinkedIn. I need to understand branding. And so I took a boot camp that was given by Nick Nelson of Brandpreneur. In fact, I've taken several classes from him, and I've taken classes from other people. I watch YouTube. I got into marketing. Even though I don't think I'm strictly marketing, I want to understand what are the tools they use. So Canva is a graphics app that is just phenomenal. Canva, you want to have that. You need to have, I think it's called Upshot, is a video editing application that I use. Yeah, InShot, InShot. InShot, you want to have that. That is just a phenomenal. Then I also invest in Graphite, which is a tool that will then take a picture and make it into a pencil drawing or a cartoon. And then the other thing I discovered is Fiverr. Fiverr is a application that allows people who are doing work. They're solopreneurs. They have a skill, and you can hire them to do work. So I've hired people to do my logo, people to do if you see a cartoon graphic, I have a song that goes along with my show, various different things I've just hired them to do. And let me go back to, the GI brand. I didn't talk about my logo. When I first had my logo done, it was 2009, but I had sketched my logo in 2005 on a napkin. I love jewelry. I never go anywhere without jewelry. So I'd seen some earrings that looked like GI. And so, in fact, this was the logo. This was my original logo that I had sketched it on a napkin, and then I had I was speaking for Hewlett Packard at a Black History event, and there was a young artist that had done a photo or picture of Obama and some other folks, and I said, hey, would you be willing to craft this logo for me? And he said yes, and he was 19 years old. And so, what I loved about working with him is he allowed me to collaborate, and I have a major in fashion design, so I'm sort of creative, and I don't really like it when people just say, here's what you get. You don't, get to really be involved. And so I like it when people allow me to collaborate, and he did that. So we collaborated on this logo, and I'll tell you how deep it is for me. I'll never get rid of it. GI, as you can see, it's got 6 wings because of 6, it's an 06. It's got 7 tail feathers because that's God's number of perfection. You can't see it because it's cut off, but there are 39 stars around it to represent 39 stripes that Jesus took on the cross. There is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit for the stars, and the wings overshadow the world that's in the background because God has given us dominion over the earth. And so it was that, a logo was that serious for me, but what putting that kind of effort into the logo did was it really kept me focused on what I was about, who I was, my Christian background. And then imagine I come back 10 years later, 2019, and I ask him to redo my logo. And so the logo that you see on my website and or my Kartra or my link tree, I like to say it, the GI Factor, or on LinkedIn, is the new logo. and I took it and made it less military. You still see that it's military, but it's less complex, but it is based off of that particular logo. So I want to talk about colors. So also branding colors, because of my fashion design background, and lettering evoke a lot of emotion, and I think it also should be tied to your brand. And so originally I had the blue that I showed you, and it was a purplish blue because it was for red the blood, blue the water, and then purple is kind of God's color of royalty. But this time I decided I would go with a different color. I would go with camo. And it all started as I was looking at different colors, and I thought about when I originally came in the military. That's why you'll see, you can see the combat helmet. You'll see me in pictures in combat helmet. My whole office on the other side of this is camouflaged. And but I thought about how it was when I first came in. And how it was when I first came in is we had the plain green uniform, and I had blue rank. And so I decided that I would go that, and that in the years that I'd been in and been out of the military, I had experienced some battles that God had brought me through. And I wanted to represent that along with my service. And so the green, is about growth. It's also about, the camouflage, is about battle and protection. And so when I had the camo, I've gone obsessed. I wear probably camouflage clothes I should have had it on today, but 4 out of 7 days. And people say, why do you do that? Because if you are going to grow a brand, you've got to live, breathe it every day. I see this camo and it reminds me I'm on a mission to increase the utilization and representation of women, veteran businesses and leaders, and it never leaves me. And I, even from my ring, you see it says TGIF, the GI factor. So that may seem obsessive, but most brands that are successful, it is because everything you see about them reinforces who they are and what they're about. And I would encourage you to do that. So as you're creating your strategy for a brand, let me just talk you through a couple of things. I think it's very important to use, and you'll hear me, my branding is all military terms. It has a military influence. So what I'm going to talk to you about is the Uncle Sam method, right? Solve a problem, address an issue, meet a need. And so, it's all about when you are seeking to have a brand, if people don't know who you are and what problem you solve, then why do they need you? Because this world, and this is what I tell military members, it all starts with you taking the inefficiencies of organizations, of the government, and then basically saying, what do I have in my rucksack or my toolkit that can solve those problems? And so when you think about solving, those problems, you should be thinking about, who is my target market? I know that I have a desire to help people, solve this problem, but who needs it the most? It has, again, to be laser focused, just like your branding strategy has to be laser focused. So does your value proposition has to be laser focused. And so, it's about identifying a target, a person, a group, or an organization. And I tell people, it's best, especially if you can target a specific organization, if it's an organizational problem, or if it is that you're seeking to solve a problem for a person. Who's your avatar? And I know you hear that, but I know that I'm not meant to serve every woman veteran business, every woman veteran leader, because one, they've got to be a Deborah. It's this woman, veteran leader, entrepreneur. She's got to be a warrior, a leader, someone who can influence other people, a person of excellence, a person of integrity. So I know those are the values that I'm looking for in a in a woman. That's the person whose problem I'm trying to solve. Then what issues do they have? These women have, they come out of the military, they're extremely skilled. I call them the super dash market, underutilized, undervalued, underemployed. And what we're seeking to do is, how do we take this rich resource that this nation, who sacrificed for this nation, and how do we get them into continuing to be not just a servant of this country, but how do we get them to be of service for a fee or for fees? And that's really what the Uncle Sam method is about. So once you figure out what's the problem I solve, what issues am I addressing of that particular person or organization, then you say, how do I meet their needs? How do I meet their needs? I've got to meet them where they are. So I think, many times people are trying to give, I don't want to miss anybody. Well, if you're don't want to miss anybody, you're trying to serve everybody. And everybody knows you can't do that. If you think about a Chick-fil-A, everybody's trying to do a chicken sandwich now. I mean, Popeyes, Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, everybody's trying to do a chicken sandwich. But who's known for a chicken sandwich? Who's known for the best customer service? You can get in and out, get hot waffle fries. You can tell I love Kentucky Fried Chicken's trying to do a chicken sandwich as well, or has. But nobody does it like Chick-fil-A, because you can get in and out, great smiling service, efficient service, fast, and their sandwiches are the same every time. Great consistency of service and product. And I think that's a model to emulate. So once we get through the Uncle Sam method, then how do I ask for help, right? I think, this is a big thing I'm talking with women, veteran businesses and entrepreneurs about, and leaders about, is we can do more together. All boats rise together. And to do that, we need to ask for help. And that requires that you have some aces on your side. And what I mean by that, ACE stands for ask for help. Align your values and your skill sets for a win. C, they should complement you. They should have right character, same commitment or similar commitment. And they should have the capacity and the capability. And then E, they should engage and enable success with excellence. So that's A, ask for help and align for a win-win. C, they should complement you. They should have character. They should have capability and capacity. They should also be committed and be willing to collaborate. And E, they should engage and enable success and excellence. So, when you're thinking about your brand and you think Top Gun, you think Maverick, the new Top Gun movie has been, I think they were trying to release it in 2020. That didn't happen. I don't know if they're going to do it in 2021. But my point to you is, guess what? Everybody, years later, knows and remembers Top Gun. There is a brand there. It is a clear brand. It comes to mind. You know exactly what we're talking about. So what I have found with veterans, especially women veterans, we must learn to tell our story, because people buy our brand and our story, then they buy us. And so, even if you have not, come into entrepreneurship yet, if you're thinking about it, even if you are an intrapreneur, that means you are entrepreneurial in mindset within an organization. It's important for promotions. It's important for, collaboration and people bringing you into special projects, to think about your brand. And what do I want to be known for? What do I want to be known for? Think about that. What do I want to be known for? I'm saying that several times because it is so critical to determine what you want to be known for and create your story around that. People don't need to know every detail, good, bad, ugly, of your veteran story. What they do need to know is the part of your story that matches what you want to be known for and what value you plan to bring them to help them what? Solve a problem, address an issue, or meet a need. Uncle Sam. So I want to say that, a lot of this has to do with your mindset. How do you see yourself as a brand? And I think it's important. I read a lot of things that are military related so I can create my own language. If you think about, we didn't know what a Coca-Cola or a Coke was. We didn't know what fizz was before people started creating soda. Google now is a replacement name for search. So why wouldn't we then create our own language as our own brand language, I should say. That's how I came to Uncle Sam. That's a brand language. It's not the first time you've heard Uncle Sam. It's not the first time you've heard what's in your rucksack, but those are all things that become a language that's tied to your brand. And so and that's about mindset. So I want to also say that, it's important to be careful about who you affiliate with, right? Who your brand is affiliated with. And when you collaborate, the places you speak, you don't want to be off, there's a big push on diversity, inclusion, equity. Believe me, I have a story that's tied to that, my experience in the military. As one of the first Black officers to make, as not only one of the first Black officer to make colonel, female to make colonel in my specialty in the history of the Air Force, I have a story, but that's not appropriate for the brand I'm talking about right now. Now, if somebody says, I want to talk to you about women, veteran, businesses or leaders in the respect of diversity, then that's something that we should talk about. But other than that, I try to really just stay very, very focused on what I'm about, the podcasts I'm on, the places I speak, because then like attract like. That's why I love Clubhouse so much, because Clubhouse, what it has done is created a platform for all like-minded people to gather. And they might be like-minded, they may be like in value, but the other pieces are diverse. And so the intensity, the comprehensiveness of the knowledge and the sharing that happens is just absolutely amazing. So, as you think about your story, your value proposition, keep your mind focused, very focused on what you want to be about. Now, if it expands, it's okay, because mine did that. When I first started, it was only women veteran businesses. Then I began to have women veteran leaders who may not necessarily want to be in entrepreneurship, but they want that mindset of being an entrepreneur internal to their organization. And I just kept having an issue with the fact that there's not enough women veterans on boards, both corporate and nonprofit, in the C-suite. I mean, and not that I want to, but you look at a person like me who's been in charge of $1 billion award-winning business when I ran all of the military retail for the Pacific, and had 7,000 people work for me, and we were the top grossing stores the 2 years I was there. Why wouldn't you want someone like me on a corporate or nonprofit board? There are thousands of other women like me. There are thousands of women who because they don't understand their worth, they haven't developed their brand, don't necessarily know how to market themselves or negotiate salaries. And I'd love to tell a story about, excuse me, a mentor of mine who retired as civilian equivalent at the 4-star level. She said to me, Michelle, I'm from South Carolina. Nobody in my family had ever made this much. I mean, she had gone from GS1 all the way up to 4-star equivalent. And so when she retired, she went to work for IBM or PricewaterhouseCoopers. And she said, Michelle, they offered me $375,000 on top of my salary, and I thought that was something. She said, but then, a male from the Navy came in who had less experience than I did, and they paid him $500,000. Imagine that. And so, she said to me, we don't understand our value. And that's what really made me realize that women in general, are underemployed. If you take the average woman business or women veteran business, they are making less on the dollar than their male counterparts. And so I want to just begin to bring awareness to help more companies, more organizations realize that women veteran entrepreneurs are a great investment. They are a great investment. And so, part of that journey for us, what we must do is we must let them know where we can be found. And that starts with our branding. That starts with our value proposition. That starts with us defining what is the sweet spot of what we know and what we can bring to the table. So with that, I would love to, take any questions that you might have, but the GI brand journey is, I'll tell you what's coming. I believe that, this podcast, or I call it Clubhouse cast audio opportunity will expand. I'm bringing in all kinds of different speakers, the GI Factor, if you're on Clubhouse. I'm also on LinkedIn. And the GI Factor will expand, because the GI Factor isn't just Gardner-Ince Factor, it is the Got It Factor. Women, veteran entrepreneurs, and leaders are the supermarket, untapped, unutilized, underserved, underemployed, and they have the Got It Factor. So expect to see more on that, as well as other things. I don't want to tell everything. So stay tuned. Follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. We are live every Wednesday and Friday. I finally figured out how to broadcast on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Clubhouse live 7 to 8 every Wednesday, every Thursday. The GI Factor, where we are all things women, veteran entrepreneurs, and leaders. It's been my pleasure. Bless you. Many people say, Michelle, I had a 60th birthday recently, and they said, why aren't you slowing down? You seem like you're doing more. And I am. And I'd just like to tell you that, all through the month of January, which was my birthday, I was just praying and saying, God, what is this? What is this? Because, I really didn't want this. This is a personal mission and ministry. And God said, you're in the 4th quarter. No matter how long you live, you're in the 4th quarter. So run every single day as fast as you can, get as much yardage as you can, score as many goals, touchdowns as you can, because you are in the 4th quarter, and you never know when I'm going to blow the whistle. And so as a result, I can't slow down. I can't stop. Everything that he tells me to do, I do. I may not know why I'm doing it, but I do it, and I do it when he tells me to do it, because, the cartoon caricature, he said, go and get this done, pay for that. go and get this music clip done. Now I have all the pieces, and when I'm ready to launch, guess what? I have all the pieces ready because I was obedient. And I believe when we are obedient, God changes the order of things, and he orders the change of things. And what I realized is that opportunity is on the other side of our obedience. So the question is, what has God told you to do? Who has he told you to contact, connect with, do those things, and that opportunity is on the other side. Because when we are obedient, God will order the change of things and change the order of things. And last but not least, there's no better branding than to have the Spirit of God upon you, because he will bring favor like you cannot believe. He will open doors that cannot be shut. He will take you from, make you the head and not the tail. He will give you beauty for your ashes. And I'm telling you that not to preach, but as a testimony. It has been my pleasure. Thank you so much.